Dear students, good evening all of you. I am Dr. Ganesan at Department of Economics, Ayyanara Animal College, Savagasi. Today in this video lesson, we are going to discuss about sources of tax revenue. So before we enter into the topic sources of tax revenue, we should understand about what do you mean by tax. So here tax is a compulsory levy made and collected by the government from the people without expectation of any direct benefit by the taxpayers. So here you can remember tax is a compulsory levy. It is imposed by the government and collected by the government from its own people. But here the taxpayer, he won't expect any direct benefit from the government. If the taxpayer is paying the tax to the government, here the money will be used for the government benefit, not for the benefit of the individual who is paying tax to the government. And at the same time, once the tax is imposed by the government, it is not possible by the person to deny. If any objection, first he has to pay the tax to the government, after that only he has to get back the money legally from the government. So tax means it's a compulsory levy made and collected by the government from the people without expectation of any direct benefit by the taxpayer. Okay. So now we discuss about what are the characteristics of a tax. So first characteristic of a tax is a compulsory levy. So already we have discussed tax is a compulsory levy made and collected by the government. So here the person on whom the tax is imposed, he is not in a position to deny to pay tax because it is a compulsory one. Then the second thing, it's a personal obligation of the taxpayer. If a person who wants to pay tax, it is his own personal obligation. Suppose if I want to buy a TV, at that time if the government is imposing tax on the TV, when I am ready to buy the TV, at that time only I have to pay tax to the government. It is my own personal obligation. If I am not in a position to buy, or I am not willing to buy a TV, at that time no need to pay tax to the government. So tax is a personal obligation of the taxpayer. And the third one, it is used for common benefit. Whatever the amount collected by the government from imposing tax, here the tax amount is, or the tax revenue is used for the benefit of the society as a whole, or it is for the common benefit, not for the benefit of the person who is paying tax to the government. And the fourth one, non-payment of a tax is a punishable offense. Once the government is imposing tax on an individual, the individual is in a position to pay tax to the government. If he is not paying the tax to the government, at that time the government is taking court of action against the person who is denied to pay tax. So non-payment of tax is a punishable offense. The number 5, payable regularly and periodically. Here tax is paid periodically and regularly. For example, you take into account of the income tax imposed by the government on the government servants. Here every month the eligible government servant, they pay tax to the government. So it is regular and periodic. Then the sixth one, there is no direct quid pro quo between the government and the taxpayer. It means here the taxpayer, they won't expect any direct benefit from the government. There is no direct link between the taxpayer and the government. The tax is imposed by the government and the taxpayer is paying tax to the government. He won't expect any benefit from the government for the money paid in the form of tax to the government. So that is what we are telling. There is no direct quid pro quo between the government and the taxpayer. Then the tax cannot be imposed arbitrarily. Here it should be imposed certainly, and the government should follow some norms and conditions. According to that, the government is imposing tax to the government. So it's tax to the individuals or the person. So here these are the points to take it for the characteristics of a tax. So now we enter into the topic sources of tax revenue. So already we have discussed about the meaning of tax. So here the taxes are classified into two types. One is direct tax and indirect tax. Here first we understand about what do you mean by direct tax and what do you mean by indirect tax. Here, to understand the direct and indirect taxes, we can remember the meaning of impact and incidence. Here, what do you mean by impact? Impact means on whom the tax is legally imposed. It's the initial burden. So here the impact can be shifted from one individual to another individual. You take into account of incidence, it is an ultimate burden. Ultimately, who is paying tax to the government? Here the tax comes to an end or rest. So the incidence cannot be shifted from one person to another person. So on the basis of impact and incidence, so we are classifying a particular tax as direct and indirect. For example, you take into account of a direct tax, the impact and incidence are fall on the same individual, but you take into account of indirect taxes, the impact and incidence are not fall on the same individual, it will fall on different individual. That is, impact is on one person and incidence is on another person. Okay, now you this introduction, first we see about direct taxes. So here, direct tax, a tax which is paid by the person on whom it is legally imposed. Here the government is imposing tax on the individual. It's legal. If the individual on whom the tax is imposed, he is the responsible person and he should pay tax to the government if he is paying the tax, not shifting the tax burden from his shoulder to somebody else, and he is paying the tax amount to the government means that tax is called direct taxes. So a tax which is paid by the person on whom it is legally imposed. Here the burden cannot be shifted from one person to another person. So here the impact and incidence are fall on the same person. Here the taxpayer is the taxpayer. For example, you take into account of income tax and wealth tax. Suppose if my income is taxed means I am the responsible person to pay tax to the government. It's not possible for me to transfer my tax burden from my shoulder to somebody else. So I am the tax is legally imposed on me. I am the responsible person. So I am paying tax to the government. So income tax is a direct tax. So what are the merits of direct taxes? So here each and every taxes is having both merits and demerits. So here first we discuss about the merits of direct taxes. So here the direct taxes are based on the principle of ability to pay. So here the progressive rate of taxation is followed under income tax or the direct taxes. So here it is based on the principle of ability to pay. So here the tax payment should be based on the capacity of an individual to pay tax to the government. Here you take into account the progressive rate of taxation, the poor people are exempted from taxation and the middle income people are taxed lightly and the higher income people or the rich people are taxed heavily by the government. So here the direct taxes are based on the principle of ability to pay. The second merits helps in reducing inequalities in income and wealth. In a country like India, there is a vast inequality between income and wealth among the people. Major portion of the income will be in the hands of the minimum number of people and the maximum number of people are not having enough amount of income. There is a wide gap between the rich and poor or the haves and have-nots. So if the government's duty is to reduce the gap between rich and poor, so at that time the government should impose direct taxes, that to progressive rate of taxation. So here the direct taxes helps in reducing the inequalities in income and wealth. That means here a heavy tax on the rich people, that money will be collected from the rich and that will be used for the benefit of the poor people by way of public expenditure. Then the third one, the direct taxes satisfy the canon of elasticity. So simply by changing the rate of tax, it is possible by the government to either increase the tax revenue or to reduce the tax revenue. Hence, the direct taxes are elasticity in character. It satisfies the canon of elasticity. And the fourth one, the direct taxes satisfy the canon of certainty. So here it is easy by the taxpayer to understand how much amount of money he has to pay tax, when to pay, where to pay, how to pay, how much to pay. All these things are certainly known by the taxpayer. So here the direct taxes, it satisfies the canon of certainty. Then you take the fifth one, satisfy the canon of economy. Here no need to, here each and every individual money, the direct taxes, normally income tax is deducted from the source. So here the government no need to appoint a large army of people to collect tax from the people. So here the money collected, that is the money spent by the government to collect direct taxes are very very less. So here it is economical in character. So here the direct taxes satisfy the canon of economy. Then the sixth one, taxpayers have conscience on public spending. So here, even a person who is making tax to the government, at that time he must be very cautious about the money spent by the government on public works program. Whether the government is spending money on the productive purpose or unproductive purpose, if the money is spent by the government on unproductive purpose, at that time the people will oppose, because here each and every individual we are paying tax to the government, so we are very much cautious about the spending made by the government. Then it serves as an anti-inflationary measure. So during the time of inflation, the circulation of money in the economy will be high. So at that time the government wants to reduce the circulation of money by imposing higher amount of tax. So here direct taxes are anti-inflationary measure. So here during the time of inflation, if the government wants to increase, if the government wants to reduce the purchasing power of the people, so at that time government is imposing higher rate of tax on the income of the people and collect more amount of revenue, and the opposite will be done during the time of deflation. So by way of that, it is the direct taxes act as an anti-inflationary measure. So these are the points to take it for the merits of direct taxes. Okay, dear friends, now we are going to discuss about the demerits of direct taxes. Even though there are so many merits of direct taxes, but here some of the demerits are: number one, they pinch the taxpayer more. Here the direct taxes are directly paid by a person to the government, so at that time it will pinch the taxpayer. So a lump sum amount will be paid by an individual to the government, so definitely it will affect the consumption of the individual. So at that time the individual he feels the burden. Number two, honesty is taxed and dishonesty is rewarded. So here you take into account direct taxes, how much amount of tax will be imposed by the government, it depends upon the money, the income of the individual should be shown to the government. If a person who is loyal and if a person who is honest to show his own real income to the government, at that time the government will impose tax on that particular individual. And the person who is dishonest and he is hiding his income, and he show his income in a lesser manner, and he will be exempted from taxation. So here direct taxes are saying honesty is taxed and dishonesty is rewarded. Then number three, it is uneconomical. So here there is a possibility of tax evasion by the individual. So to avoid tax evasion, the government authority should be very cautious. So at that time government should appoint many officials to watch the person, and whether the person who is showing the income to the government is real or not, or fact. So here at that time the money spent on the collecting direct taxes are more, so here it is uneconomical. Then number four, it fails to achieve civic sense among the people. So here not all the people are paying tax to the government. So because direct taxes are progressive in nature, poor income people are exempted from taxation, and here the middle income people and the rich income people are paying tax to the government. So at that time, so here it fails to achieve civic sense among all the people. Then number five, there is no guiding principle regarding the tax rate. What is the tax rate? Whether 5%, 10% or 20% or 25%, it will be fixed by the exchequer only by an arbitrary manner. There is no guiding principle for fixing the tax rate under direct taxes. Then they may discourage savings. So when the government is imposing more and more direct tax on the income of the people, it will discourage savings, and it will reduce the consumption capacity of the people, and at the same time it will reduce the willing to work and save more. And the last one, it may not be on the basis of ability to pay. So here the direct taxes are not, because the direct taxes are the rates are fixed only by an arbitrary manner. So it is not on the basis of ability to pay. So these are the points we take it for the demerits of direct taxes. Friends, so far we have discussed about the merits and demerits of direct taxes. Now we are going to discuss about the indirect taxes, right? So here indirect taxes are here the taxes are paid by the person not directly, but the taxes are paid by the person indirectly to the government. So here the burden can be shifted from one person to another person. So here normally the tax is imposed by the government on one person and ultimately the tax is paid by another person. The tax is imposed on one person but paid partly or wholly by another. The impact and incidence of the tax is not fall on the same person. For example, if you take into account of salt tax, here the government is imposing tax on the producer, but here the tax amount will be included in the price of the commodity. So ultimately who is paying tax to the government means the consumers, we are paying tax to the government. So here the impact is on the producer, but the incidence is on the consumer. So here the producer, he shifts the tax burden either partially or fully according to the elasticity of demand and supply of the commodity. The tax burden will be shifted from the producer to the consumer. So here the taxpayer is not the tax bearer. Example, sell tax, or you tell the now we are telling GST, goods and services tax. So friends, now we discuss about what are the merits of indirect taxes. The taxpayer does not feel the burden directly because here the indirect taxes are included in the price of the commodity. So here the burden will not be felt by the people directly. So the taxpayer does not feel the burden directly. Number two, it is disguised and it pinches the taxpayer less. So here the indirect taxes are disguised in the name of prices. So here it will not pinch the taxpayer heavily. The number three, difficult for tax evasion. So here whenever the person who is buying a particular product, definitely he has to pay tax to the government. If the government is imposing tax on a particular commodity, at the time of buying the commodity, definitely the people we have to pay tax to the government. So there is very difficult for tax evasion and indirect taxes. Number four, it discourages the consumption of harmful commodities. Harmful commodities, for example, take into account of tobacco products, liquor and other products. If these commodities are taxed, means it will reduce the consumption of that particular commodity. So the indirect taxes reduces the consumption of harmful commodity and it is good to the society. The number five, it satisfies the canon of elasticity. So here simply by increasing the tax rate or introducing new tax, or if the government is introducing some other commodities into tax system, so definitely the government will get adequate amount of revenue. So here it satisfies the canon of elasticity. Then here the sixth one, every member of the community can be taxed and pay some amount to the government. So here under take into account of direct taxes, only the rich and middle income people are paying tax to the government, the poor people are exempted. But here you take into account of indirect taxes, the person who buy the commodity, whether he is a rich person or a middle income people or a poor income people, all people have to make tax to the government. So definitely it will create civic sense among the people. So the seventh point, it satisfies the canon of convenience. So here the indirect taxes are paid by the consumer or the person only at the time of buying the product. So according to his convenience only he will buy the product. So here indirect taxes satisfy the canon of convenience. So friends, these are all the points to take it for the merits of indirect taxes. Now we are going to discuss about the demerits of indirect taxes. So here indirect taxes are unjust and inequitable. So here the same amount of money will be collected from the poor people as well as from the rich people. Suppose a TV is purchased by a poor people and at the same time the same TV is purchased by rich people. Here the tax amount is equal. So here indirect taxes are unjust and it is inequitable. It will affect more on the poor people. For example, you take into account of if the essential commodities are taxed by the government at third time, the most affected people are the poor income people or the vulnerable group. So here indirect taxes are unjust and inequitable. The number two, it discourages savings. So here when a consumer is going to buy a product, if the indirect taxes are included in the price will be high. It will reduce his consumption or he has to make more money for is consumption. So definitely it will discourage savings. The number 3, it does not satisfy the canon of certainty. So here the taxpayer, he doesn't know about how much amount of tax is imposed for a particular commodity. So here it is not certain, and at the same time how much amount of money the exchequer has to be received for its for the government expenditure and other things. It's not possible by the exchequer to decide. So here it does not satisfy the canon of certainty. The number 5, it fails to achieve a civic sense among the people, because here a meager amount of money is paid by each and every individual, that too at the time of buying goods and services. So here it will not create civic sense among the people, and here it is uneconomical in nature. Indirect taxes are uneconomical because there is a wide chance for tax evasion, and here to avoid that, the government authorities appoint a large army of officials to monitor. So here the expenditure incurred on collecting indirect taxes by the government is more when compared to the direct taxes. So here indirect taxes are uneconomical in nature. So these are the points you take it for the demerits of indirect taxes. Thank you, friends.